The following program is sponsored by Retirement Renegade. Are you ready to take control of your financial future? Andrew Winnett of Retirement Renegade has the strategies you need to plan for a successful retirement. Whether you're planning for your retirement, saving to live out your dreams, or looking to grow your wealth, Andrew has resources to guide you every step of the way. Andrew Winnett is the Retirement Renegade, and he's been developing customized plans to help you achieve your financial goals. Retirement Renegade starts right now.
Welcome to Retirement Renegade. I'm Danielle Martin. Today you'll learn cutting-edge financial strategies and tips on earning income for life in retirement. Joining me right now is Andrew Winnett. He's the founder of Retirement Renegade, where they're fighting for your financial security. I'm here with the rebel with a cause himself, Andrew Winnett. How are you feeling today?
Danielle, I'm great. I'm glad to be here.
I'm super excited for today's show because you've been talking a lot about your specific enemy. I'm curious, I have to ask who this arch enemy is.
Danielle, I do have an arch enemy. It sounds like a Marvel movie.
Right.
No, it's not Thanos. I'm inevitable. My arch enemy is Wall Street. Wall Street, to me, is the biggest problem when it comes to retirement. Wall Street brokers, financial advisors, banks, they make huge amounts of fees off both the accumulation and the decumulation side of wealth in America. And their track record is what I'm frustrated with. They've got a 50% failure rate.
Right.
And my problem with Wall Street is three things. Number one, excessive optimism, crazy optimism. Number two, ignored risks. And number three, bad assumptions. And when I talk about those three things, what I mean is when these advisors are exceedingly optimistic, they think that the markets will never go down, right? I call this the normalcy bias, where, everything is been good. It's good today, therefore it always should be good. Boy, that's dangerous. Thinking markets will never go down as you get closer to retirement is a big gamble. It's dangerous if you don't have time to make up for losses. So then we've got ignored risks, and this is a big one. Not factoring in realistic inflation rates. So what happens is most people, when they go to an advisor and they create this income plan, they use very low inflation rates when they factor in their future. And it ends up being the case that if there is indeed a higher inflation rate, they're going to run out of money. And they're going to have to go back to work in their 80s, which is brutal.
Yeah, who wants to do that?
Nobody.
I'm not doing that.
Who wants to go work at Walmart, in their 80s? Not because they want to, that's one thing,
right,
but because they have to. Not factoring in that Social Security will be cut by 1/3 in 2033, that's called ignoring a big risk.
Right.
And so for those people who are watching, if this is resonating with you and you're like, my advisor has never told me that Social Security is going to get cut by 1/3, you need to give us a call. But the third thing is bad assumptions. So, a lot of advisors are going to use something called a safe withdrawal rate. We'll talk about that a little later. But a 4% safe withdrawal rate was pretty common among financial advisors, which basically means if I've got $1 million saved and I have a 4% safe withdrawal rate, 40 grand a year, I should never run out of money, right? Well, that is actually grossly too high based upon Nobel-winning economists, big financial media companies like Morningstar, analysis companies. And then the other thing that's really frustrating that I see all the time is bad illustrations, right? So they'll illustrate market returns of 7, 8, 9%, when if you look back to 2020, returns have not been that high. And you've got to factor in realistic rates of return. That way we're not, betting the farm on something that may or may not happen. Again, I hate to see when these retirement plans are created and it's built upon a faulty premise. And what ends up happening is these people run out of money before they run out of life. Excessive optimism, ignoring the risks and bad assumptions, That is called a recipe for failure in retirement. And it's no wonder there's a 50% failure rate. And I'm here to tell our watchers there's a better way. You know, I'm on a mission to make retirement great again. You know, when you retire counting on Wall Street, there's almost, as of right now, according to the National Bureau of Economic Research, there is a 50% failure rate. That is unacceptable. In what job can you have a 50% failure rate and still get paid? I mean, I sure wouldn't want somebody working for me that was failing 50% of the time. Are you kidding me? So why are these people hiring advisors that lose their money, charge them a bunch of fees, and end up, you know, creating this false illusion that they're going to be just fine? It drives me crazy. You end up living in fear, right? Fear of losing money, fear of wasting money on high fees, fear of running out of money before you run out of life. You end up having to go back to work. It's terrible. And retirement is not the time to gamble your hard-earned savings with Wall Street. Again, we're going to talk about that a little bit more, that safe withdrawal rate, but I just want to emphasize it is kind of like a Marvel movie because it's this universal struggle. The stakes are so high. You know, it may not be the end of the world, you know, if we don't defeat this enemy, but it may be the end of the world for you or the end of the retirement, you know, future. And so that's a big deal, and we don't want that to be dark and gloomy. Yeah. We want that to be happy and peace-filled and guaranteed. As
you mentioned, to make your retirement great again, you have to give Andrew and his team a call. We're going to talk about that safe withdrawal rate coming up after the break, and Andrew's going to answer some of your questions coming up soon. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
How does your future look in retirement? When you don't have a strategy, the future might look a little fuzzy, but with someone asking the right questions and helping you learn where you truly stand, it can become easier to work towards your goals. You need a strategy to help generate income that will last as long as you need it. And the first step to creating an income strategy is an analysis of where you are now. Let us help you bring your retirement into focus with your free income analysis today.
When it comes to planning for the future, time may not always be on your side. Think about your taxes. Tax rates are historically low right now, but they'll likely be higher in the future. Our current tax rates are set to expire in just a few short years. With the right planning and strategy, you might be able to cut your tax bill in the years to come. But don't wait until it's too late to take advantage of today's lower tax rates. Let us be your partner in planning for tomorrow so you can enjoy your retirement today.
Welcome back to Retirement Renegade. Now, before we dive into the safe withdrawal rates, Andrew, you were telling me before the break here that let's talk about Superman or Superwoman. Are
Superman
you it or me?
Well, here's the deal. Superman or Superwoman is pretty rare. It's 1 in a million, maybe 1 in a billion. Well, let's talk about that. I want to ask the watchers, right?
Oh.
If you have a financial advisor who wakes up in the morning and has a Superman or Superwoman shirt on, the characteristics of this financial advisor, Superman or Superwoman, typically look like this. Number one, they are not going to charge you more than 0.25% per year, right? Because they understand what they're worth and they got to make some money, but they're not overcharging, right? They're doing what's honorable, 0.25% per year. Okay. Then they've created a bulletproof income plan where you have a guaranteed income for life, no matter how long you or your spouse lives, and it increases every year to help offset inflation because inflation is the biggest monkey wrench.
It's the silent killer.
It's the kryptonite, right? It's the kryptonite for our retirement. Inflation's a big deal. They also factored in their planning a 4 to 5% inflation rate every single year for the rest of their life. Holy cow, that's pretty high. But they're Superman, remember. They also were able to acquire long-term care for about 25 to 50% of the normal cost of a standalone long-term care policy. You see this financial advisor, Superman or Superwoman, understands that long-term care is the #1 cause of bankruptcy in America. And 7 out of 10 people will find themselves in a long-term care situation before they pass. And so they're prepared. And because they're prepared, you're prepared. Well, additionally, this Superman, Superwoman advisor, they've also factored in required minimum distributions. They know that this is because of sequence of returns risk, which is a fancy jargon term for saying your pre-tax money is vulnerable. Your IRA money, your 401k money, it's vulnerable. So they've got a way for you to never lose your principal as you get older. Again, they're Superman, they're Superwoman. You're not going to lose any money. Well, then it gets better because they've also factored in tax planning. Again, you got to factor in taxes. Taxes are on sale right now.
Exactly.
And so they know that you're going to have to pay some taxes in retirement, but how do we factor in paying as little in taxes as possible, right? As legally possible, by the way. They don't want you to go to prison. Then we're going to factor in estate planning because it is what it is. We're all going to die. We all want to go to heaven, but no one wants to die. And it is important. Yes, ma'am. But we got to make sure that there's a trust in place, right? We don't want anything going through probate. We want it to be a smooth transition. And this Superman, Superwoman advisor knows that, right? So they've got an estate plan all created for you. They've got a plan, an income plan, if one of the spouses passes and they see a reduction in Social Security or a reduction in pension income, that this stopgap fund kicks on and the surviving spouse is just fine. Again, this Superman, Superwoman advisor, they do it all. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. You're saying, Andrew, this sounds like a unicorn here. I don't have one of those. My financial advisor doesn't wake up with a Superman costume. He charges me 1% or even higher. My money's not growing at least 5 to 7%. I am concerned I'm going to run out of money. I don't have guarantees. I don't even have a long-term care plan. We haven't talked about taxes. We haven't talked about estate planning. We haven't talked about guaranteed income planning that I can't outlive. My money isn't for certain going to increase every single year to help offset inflation. Andrew, how do you find one of these Superman, Superwoman advisors? Well, I'm here to say that they're not as rare as you might think. It just requires a different perspective. You see, I was on that side of the aisle. I used to be one of those guys that just threw your money in the market or in a stock or something and hoped it would grow. And that's good, but it's often incomplete in retirement. You need to find the Superman, Superwoman advisor. And I'm here to tell you,
Are you that guy?
I am that guy.
Are you that? Where's your cape?
I know. I need a cape. I need a Superman cape. I brought the, make retirement great again. But
yes.
That's what we want. We want to be that for you. We're not going to charge you a bunch in fees. We're going to provide a guaranteed income stream that will increase to help offset inflation. We're going to help you get long-term care for a quarter of the cost. We're going to make sure your estate plan set up. We're going to make sure you have a tax strategy. We're going to make sure that you are equipped so that any curveball in life, Social Security getting cut by a third, that's one thing that most advisors don't even talk about. Oh, Social Security will never get cut by a third until it does. We have a big demographic problem in our country right now. We have such a swelling elderly population, we don't have enough taxpayers to cover that cost, and it's headed for a cliff. So if you want that, if you want to learn more, you want to know what it's like to truly be taken care of by a Superman or Superwoman, you're going to want to give us a call. Give us a call today, and we can have that conversation, 15-minute phone call, and get some resources into your hand to see if this is a good fit and see if you cannot achieve that Superman, Superwoman retirement.
Thanks, Andrew, for your insights.
You're welcome.
Well, coming up next, it's important to understand a breakdown of safe withdrawal rates and a piece of financial advice from a very well-known financial celebrity. You're going to want to stay tuned. We'll be right back.
When it comes to your car, your health, even your fashion sense, a second opinion can make a lot of sense. The same can be true for your retirement. Don't let unanswered questions keep you from getting the most out of this next stage of life. You deserve to feel confident. Help keep the doubt at bay. Find out if you're ready to retire or if you need to make a change. Our team can help. Contact us for your second opinion today.
Welcome back into the show. Andrew gives us his thoughts on a very viral piece of financial advice from a very well-known financial celebrity in our area. You are not going to believe this. Andrew, what can you tell us?
Thanks, Danielle. Maybe you have heard of a financial expert in our area who recently came out and said that an 8% safe withdrawal rate was acceptable to not run out of money before you run out of life. Now, many financial advisors have pushed back on this celebrity financial entertainer who lives in our area, basically saying that an 8% safe withdrawal rate is astronomically too high and that many people will indeed run out of money before they run out of life. Let's look at that. Okay, so let's say you're age 65, okay? And you have $1 million saved for retirement. We're going to keep math easy today. All right, and sorry for the handwriting. I've got the handwriting of a doctor, so forgive me. Okay, so we got age 65, they've got $1 million. Now here's the deal. Wade Pfau, who's a PhD expert and Nobel-winning economist, as well as Morningstar, which I don't know if you're familiar with Morningstar, but they're one of the largest financial media company. In fact, they are the largest financial media company in the world. They came out after COVID happened in 2020 and said that the normal 4% safe withdrawal rate was actually way too high, and that if you were taking a 4% safe withdrawal rate, you would run out of money before you run out of life. How would that work? What a safe withdrawal rate is, okay, so if we look at a safe withdrawal rate, okay, safe withdrawal rate, it means that if you were taking 4% from your $1 million per year, ideally you would never run out of money in retirement. So if you're taking 40 grand a year, you should be good. And this would factor in the ups and the downs of the market. It would factor in inflation, etc. 4%, you should never run out of money. However, after COVID happened and the bonds got a beat down and the whole 60-40 equities to bonds ratio got completely destroyed, their returns were the worst in over 100 years. They said actually a 4% safe withdrawal rate is way too high. It really needs to be 3.3%, which is a lot lower, right? Then this expert that lives in our backyard and has 1,000+ employees, you've probably seen his building, he said, no, a 3.3% safe withdrawal rate, it's not that, it's 8%. And even the advisors who buy leads from this person said, that's actually extremely too high. You will absolutely run out of money if you're taking 8%. That's 80 grand per year. You will for sure run out of money. Well, this is what advisors recommend on how you decumulate your wealth in retirement, but there's a better way. Rather than the safe withdrawal rate, what we recommend is what is your monthly income needs. Monthly income needs, okay? See, the thing is, if you look at this and you start thinking, okay, well, the experts are saying it's really 3.3 that we need to go off of, how many stinking millions do I have to have saved to actually have a decent retirement? I mean, it can be a little discouraging, especially if you don't have $5 million saved. So if this is indeed the number that we need to go off of, well, the safe withdrawal rate would be $33,000 per year at $1 million invested at age 65. But what is a better strategy and a better way of decumulating your wealth is asking yourself, what is your monthly income needs? So for example, if you do a budget and you factor in all your bills, your mortgage, your gifts or donations, your eating out, your utilities, your fund money, travel, all of it, and let's just say it's $7,000, okay? $7,000 per month. If we can get to this number and guarantee that your $7,000 a month is going to continue on for the rest of your life, regardless of what the market does. Because guys, this is not guaranteed. If we have another COVID, that 3.3 may end up at 2.8, which it was for 1 year, but they adjusted it back upwards. So this is not guaranteed. What if there's a way where the same exact situation, age 65, $1 million invested, can get you $80,000 per year, and it's guaranteed. And by the way, you can do this with a fixed indexed annuity. Now, before you fall back in your chair and you say, oh my gosh, I've heard terrible things about annuities. I have too. There are some bad annuities out there. Did you know that there's 9 different kinds of annuities? Our firm only recommends 3. There are some bad ones, but there's also some really good ones. And they can give you an 8% withdrawal rate that is guaranteed and is insulated from the ebbs and the flows of the market. There's no fees. And get this, this $80,000 will continue to increase to help offset inflation, because guys, inflation, it's the biggest monkey wrench in all of our retirement plans. So would you rather go with the monthly income needs, which are guaranteed, and your bills and your fund money are accounted for, or would you rather go with the whole guess and hopefully you don't run out of money in retirement? More and more people are going to this side, and they're not listening to the financial entertainers who are just trying to sell leads to other advisors. They're going with the most efficient way to decumulate wealth in retirement is with a guarantee. You're going to get more per year, you're going to be a lot happier, and you're not going to worry about the ebbs and the flows of the market.
A lot of really good insights there. Thanks, Andrew. Well, coming up next, if you have questions about retirement, stay tuned. Andrew has the answers. We'll be right back.
When it comes to your car, your health, even your fashion sense, a second opinion can make a lot of sense. The same can be true for your retirement. Don't let unanswered questions keep you from getting the most out of this next stage of life. You deserve to feel confident. Help keep the doubt at bay. Find out if you're ready to retire or if you need to make a change. Our team can help. Contact us for your second opinion today.
Welcome back into the show. It's time to get to your questions about retirement that you have for Andrew. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Let's do this. So our first question comes from Marisol in Nashville. She says, I know I have to be mindful of taking my RMDs at 73. What retirement accounts are subject to RMD rules?
Marisol, that's a great question. I will tell you, any pre-tax accounts, such as a 401k, a 403b, a 457, a thrift savings plan, or an IRA, are going to be subject to required minimum distributions at age 73. In 2033, year 2033, that age will actually go up to 75. So it's very important that you have a strategy for that, because if you don't take the RMDs, you get hit with a massive fine. And no one wants to pay fines on their retirement accounts on top of taxes. So make sure you've got a plan for that, a strategy. We can help you with that. We'd love to. But yeah, that's anything pre-tax is subject to RMDs.
It's a good reminder because there's a lot of changes happening, so we got to make sure that people are staying up to date. So good insights there. Okay, next question comes from Dale in Spring Hill. He says that my wife and I have noticed a big jump in prices lately. We have some goals to remodel a kitchen and put in a pool when we retire, but now we're worried about what prices will be when retirement comes. Do you have a rule of thumb to figure that out so we'll know if we can afford it?
Yeah, so this is common, right? People have these aspirations. You know, I want to do this when I retire. I want to travel here. And then they get to retirement, they look at their account, they're like, do we have enough? I don't, is this a gamble? And what often happens is people are very conservative on travel and fun money because they don't want to run out of money. And many times they can afford it. They just need permission, right? So having a plan created where we can dissect, okay, this is how much you have, this is your monthly bills, this is how much you want to spend on, travel and fun money or gifts or donations. Then we can say without a shadow of a doubt, you have permission to purchase the vehicle or go on the vacation or buy the second home in Florida or whatever it might be. But you need somebody who can give you resolute, concrete evidence supporting, just without any emotion, a financial, mathematical standpoint. Yes, you can afford it, go for it. Yeah. And that's where we can help you.
I love that because every day is Saturday in retirement. And so all I'm thinking is like spin, 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 spin. But you're right. We got to have like a budget here.
That's right.
So let's pull it back a little bit.
Rein it in.
Okay, next question comes from Jacqueline in Brentwood. She says that my husband and I are considering joining a retirement community that has different levels of care as needed. So I'm worried about the price. What do you think of communities like that?
Okay, so there are some really nice communities that they serve champagne and they go all out buffets every night we're not talking Golden Corral buffets, we're talking Bellagio buffets.
Okay, like steak and lobster.
The whole shebang. Yeah, it's pretty nice. So there are definitely some upper scale, luxurious types of communities. And what's really kind of cool right now is that this long-term care / assisted living / community type environment that people are wanting to go in actually at earlier ages because of the convenience. You don't even have to be sick. They want to go into it because of the convenience. Everything's taken care of. Right. People are selling their homes and basically moving into these retirement communities, and there's different levels of care. So maybe it's 100% independent for a while, and then if you do need care a decade in, they have that available, and it's still very luxurious and very fun, and there's lots of different events and things you can do outside. So it's definitely can be something that people are drawn towards, but the cost, holy cow, the cost can be astronomical. So you want to make sure that you can afford it. Having a really strong long-term care plan is going to be beneficial and helpful. If you're healthy, long-term care is not going to pay for your community. But if you end up getting sick, long-term care can cover that and actually have a little bit left over, which is kind of cool. But you got to have a strategy and a plan, and that's something that we can help them with.
Yeah. Andrew, I learn something from you every time, so I do appreciate your insights. Thank you for joining me.
My pleasure.
Well, here's how you can connect with Andrew and his team and learn more about all the great resources that they offer to help you achieve the retirement that you've been dreaming about and that you deserve. So for Andrew Winnett and the team at Retirement Renegade, I'm Danielle Martin. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
The preceding program was sponsored by Retirement Renegade.